At Bridgestone, our engineers want to help make sure you're not stuck on the side of the road. Our revolutionary Drive Guard tires are engineered to take a puncture and drive up to 50 miles.
Ready to go.
Watch the Olympic Archer demo at BridgestoneTire.com.
Front side, back side.
Hi everybody, Wave 3 News meteorologist Ryan Hoke here. We're going to go on with coverage right now for this tornado warning, and that is currently near the Breckenridge and Hardin County border. You can see this hook shape right here inside this red polygon. That's the tornado warning, and this is where we are indicating some of the rotation right here that has prompted this tornado warning. At this time, we have not seen any reports of this tornado actually being on the ground, but you'll see from the velocity view here that we certainly do have this rotation, the green being the inbound, the red being the outbound velocity, showing where that potential is right now, right over the border of the Breckenridge County and Hardin County areas. It's just north of Grayson County at this time. So you folks in Grayson County, you're all right at the moment, but we are certainly watching for folks moving toward the E-Town area. In fact, E-Town right now, you'll see that it is just west of you by about half a county length. So we're going to have to watch that very closely as we go throughout the next few minutes. You'll see we've got another thunderstorm back here near Horse Branch, Kentucky, moving into western Grayson. That one right now is not severe and does not have a tornado warning on it, but we'll continue to watch that one too. Both of these thunderstorms in an environment where we could get some more rotation and the potential for another tornado warning to be issued at some point. Here at Metro Louisville, we are not seeing any sort of severe weather. It's just heavy rain and lightning at the moment, and we will certainly be looking out for folks who may be at outdoor events. Of course, we do have the certain bats game that's going on out there. I know about 5,000 to 6,000 people are out there at the moment. Certainly with the rain falling, it's not an ideal situation. I want to toss this over to Brian Good right now, and he's got some more information regarding sort of the structure of this thunderstorm and what we've been seeing here throughout the last few minutes. Brian?
All right, thanks, Ryan. We're still keeping an eye on the cell. I know we have the Olympic trials on, by the way, everybody, and we will get you back to the coverage here as soon as we can, but we want to make sure everybody's safe here into portions of Hardin County, into the southeast corner here of Breckenridge County as well. It's a small hook that Ryan was discussing has developed on the southwest side of this. It's had a rotation showing up now on the backside of the cell for about, I would say, a good 90-minute period. But it has begun to tighten up just a bit in the past few moments across the county line here as it's crossing over into Hardin County at the moment. You see that little bit of a hook signature that is showing up here on the back side. So if you live in these communities here, areas mainly west and southwest of E-Town, you need to get into your safe spot at the moment. We're talking about the lowest level of your home. Get away from windows. If you don't have a basement, an interior room is the best place to get into, and seek shelter, because these are the type of thunderstorms where we have to really go by radar data, because the rainfall that is taking place, that is surrounding this thunderstorm cell at the moment, is a tremendous amount of heavy rain. It is raining in some cases, what we were talking about, Ryan, about 4 to as much as maybe as 5 inches.
5 inches an hour.
Yeah, 4 to 5 inches per hour at the moment. A very heavy rain event that is taking place. So this is going to be very difficult to be spotted if it is indeed something developing that could be touching the ground. So we have to go by radar data specifically as it is moving into portions of Hardin County at the moment. It is tracking off to the east, northeast.
About 25 miles per hour.
25 miles per hour. So not a fast speed here at all. This is a relatively slow speed this cell is moving into, which only leads to concern too with flash flooding as it's moving off to the east at a pretty good clip. We're still monitoring too, of course, the potential for perhaps the ability to see the chance for here for some large hail in a few cases, but overall this is mainly going to be a straight line wind event that we are talking about as we head into this evening here, and we'll be able to play this here. Let me show you the loop on this over the past hour to 45 minutes to an hour, and you'll see how that hook has really developed right over portions of the county line of Breckenridge into Hardin County itself. This is where we're seeing that cycling effect here. These cells have a tendency to produce rotation, then that will cycle through, and then the rotation is gone just as quickly as it develops. And that's kind of the scenario that we were expecting this afternoon to develop. Very brief rotating thunderstorms. If there were a tornado, it would be a very brief spin up. These are relatively weak in nature, but a tornado is a tornado, and that's the reason why we're going to make sure to stress the potential is there for one to eventually touch down if this were to become the reality here. We're going to stay with you guys. We're still monitoring this carefully. To recap, if you're just now tuning in, we're interrupting the Olympic trials at the moment because we have a life-threatening situation taking place potentially in our southern area here as we head into Hardin County, around the western side of Hardin County. Tornado warning has been issued for the border here of Breckenridge and Hardin until 45 after the hour. We've got about 10 minutes left here on this warning as it's tracking off to the east. The storm could very well lose that rotation as it moves into the area. Let me stop the radar beam and we'll continue to watch as it moves off the east. We were talking earlier, it's basically about 20 to 25 miles per hour has been the speed on this as it's been passing through the area. And unfortunately, this is not able to click here for me, but we'll get you a velocity view here in just a second. You'll be able to see, though, where that rotation is. It's a counterclockwise flow right over the border there of Hardin County into Breckenridge. Very heavy rain, by the way, on the back side of this, and we've got on the front side. So this is going to be a very much of a challenge here to determine whether or not this rotation is has the ability or has already been able to produce any type of wind damage. So far, these thunderstorms have been rolling through. The winds have been relatively elevated. We've seen a lot of situations where the radar beam has been detecting strong winds, but very little wind damage has taken place. That is usually a good sign. The difference with this one is this particular cell is located right along the warm front itself across the southern flank here of Hardin County. Let me take you to we have the ability to switch over here in a second. We'll show you the camera we got out of the E-Town area here in just a few moments, but we do have our SkyTrack camera in E-Town. We'll be able to show you here in just a few moments. Ryan, if you can punch that up, that'd be great. The SkyTrack camera in E-Town. We'll show everybody the cell that we have. And I'll be able to show you that heavy rain band, again, mainly moving on the southwest side there of town, producing that strong wind gust into the area. So I'll be able to check in here with Ryan, actually. And Ryan, I know you're monitoring how things are progressing as the storm is moving through. Big question everyone has so far, anything confirmed, or are we still looking at a plain radar-indicated scenario?
This is just a radar-indicated scenario so far that we're seeing, Brian. We're not seeing anything in the way of a reported tornado. We just got this report in, though, of trees and power lines down on Highway 1740 near the McDaniels area, if you're familiar with that area. This tornado warning, by the way, for folks trying to get their bearings, is just east of Rough River Lake. It is actually on Rough River where we're seeing the tornado warning at this time, and we'll certainly be watching that here over the next several minutes. By the way, this tornado watch continues until 11 o'clock this evening, and that goes from Adair all the way to Greene, Hardin, Hart, LaRue, includes Marion County, Nelson, and Taylor, Washington counties as well. But once again, with the tornado warning that we're seeing, this is radar indicated. So if you're looking for some sort of confirmation, we don't quite have that yet, that there is a tornado on the ground. This is actually not a terribly populated area, so it may be difficult to get some of this confirmation as we head throughout the next several minutes on this, Brian.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that. What we're looking at now is, again, the velocity scan showing the wind fields. The radar, of course, can see the wind fields as it is scanning there off to the southwest. Keep in mind, the radar beam is slightly disrupted at the moment because of the heavy rain that is taking place between this cell and the radar beam, by the way, at Fort Knox. We're looking at here the red colors, especially when we get into the pinks. These are the winds that are blowing away from the radar site. What we're looking for is any type of green coming back at us, which would indicate the wind field blowing back toward the radar beam at Fort Knox. We've had this rotation for a while that has been that was around the region, and we'll be able to animate where some of that has been taking place across the area there in western areas of Hardin County. And watch what happens. Notice we had at one point very bright, almost white in some cases, with such a light colored pink, indicating the very strong circulation. We do not see that as prominently as we did earlier, which is a good sign. That may be a sign here that the rotation is beginning to cycle through, as we were mentioning earlier, and beginning to ease up, which does certainly help as the scan comes through. All right, it is now updating. Kevin is helping. Chief Meteorologist Kevin Howard is helping us out here too with the radar beam, and you can see that bright white we are showing you here. This is where the circulation was beginning to tighten up, the southern flank here of Breckenridge County. Then when it approached the Hardin County line, this is where we began to see the problems develop here, where it could be developing a tornado, and that is what prompted the tornado warning. Notice we do not see that signature being as prominent as we did earlier, which is some great news on that end. Ryan, I understand we do have the SkyTrack camera too that we are tracking in the E-Town area. We had the shelf cloud initially. How are things looking now?
Yeah, things look like the shelf cloud's already passed through. It's just kind of your general rain and thunderstorm look to things down there in E-Town at the moment from what we can see back here. We've not had any confirmation either via the National Weather Service chat that we monitor, nor social media about any sort of tornado touchdown with this. Brian was indicating here just a few minutes ago that we did have the rotation on radar and that it was weakening somewhat. By the way, you can track these storms live on your mobile device with the Wave 3 News weather app. That's free in your app store, whether it be Google Play or, of course, the Apple App Store as well. It has all the warnings that you need to know. We get custom push alerts on there directly from all 6 of us meteorologists here at Wave 3 News. So it's a very crucial tool to have. And make sure your phone is not in silent mode so that you can hear these warnings as they're issued if we do get additional warnings as we head throughout the evening. Not only could we see the potential for another tornado warning issued, but I think flash flood warnings could be prominent in just a few areas as we head throughout the overnight hours, particularly into the early part of our Monday there. So we'll toss it over to Brian Good, who's got the latest on the radar view.
All right, thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that. We are keeping an eye on your reports as well. Keep in mind the situation. If you're in this path of the storm still, you don't need to be trying to see what's out the window. All right, you're not going to be able to see anything really because the rain is tremendous that is coming down surrounding this particular cell as it crosses into Hardin County. We're going to keep monitoring the situation. We've got 5 minutes left here officially on this tornado warning. We are still seeing some strong winds with this. We're not seeing as much of a return flow. In other words, the circulation is not as prominent as we had noticed earlier. About 15-20 minutes ago, the circulation was a little more prominent and a stronger rotation that was indicated on the radar. Still, though, some decent winds aloft. We've had some reports, I believe Brian was mentioning about a tree that was knocked down. I think it's the only report we've had so far out of the system. We're monitoring the feeds right now with emergency personnel as it moves through the area. Ryan?
Yeah, and we've also got sirens going off in E-Town at this time. We're getting this report on our Facebook page. And a lot of folks asking, where is the rotation right now? And Brian, of course, we've been telling those folks here for the past few minutes. We're going to go for, of course, the duration of this tornado warning here. We also have downtown tower cam that we can show you the latest on what's happening outside right now. Certainly a very stormy look to things here in Metro Louisville at this time. The visibility is very low. So if you've got outdoor activities south and east of Metro Louisville, looks like the rain's going to be moving in, putting a damper on those over the next few minutes, Brian.
All right, thanks, Ryan. That's a good point, too, by the way. For those of us in Louisville and really surrounding areas north of this particular cell, it's mainly just heavy rain and lightning, all right? Nothing severe indicated locally. Here is E-Town on the radar. Here is the red polygon you see on the left side of your screen. The circulation that we are most concerned about at the moment is right here on the edge of the storm itself. That is where we're still monitoring anyway some weak rotation. The rotation not as prominent as it was, but this is the cell that is going to eventually move toward I-65 and around E-Town as we head through the next, I would say, 15 to 20 minutes or so. We will see that cell move into portions of the E-Town area. Heavy rain surrounding the cell. In fact, it's coming down about 4 to 5 inches per hour as it is tracking off to the east at about 20 miles per hour. And another band, by the way, of likely winds about 40 miles per hour behind this cell. So if you're in this area where the tornado warning is in the western flank here of Hardin County, once this tornado warning will likely be expired if the radar trends continue, you may see the winds pick back up once again. Just know we're watching that, but more than likely these will be just gusty winds and heavy rain and nothing severe that will be indicated. So we'll watch this cell carefully. Ryan, we've got about 3 minutes left here on this, and then as long as we have the weakening trend continue, we'll be able to get back to the Olympic trials, but we need to keep an eye on the story a little bit longer, Ryan.
Louisville as well. Let's mention what's happening here in Louisville for all those folks because so many people are asking.
But Ryan, did you have something you need to mention?
Yeah, we've got a part of a barn actually that's blown onto the roadway there in Hudson, Kentucky. That's in Breckinridge County right now, and this just came across the wires too. The tornado warning has actually been expired for Breckinridge and Hardin counties at this point.
So it will expire coming up at in about 2 minutes here officially. But here is the rain shield all the way into Indiana here. Lots of yellows and reds. Yellows and reds doesn't always mean severe weather is happening. It's the intensity of the rainfall as well, and that's pretty much what we're dealing with here around the Louisville area. This has been very ominous across Bullitt County. Very photogenic storm. Has had a huge shelf cloud with it. You guys have been sending in pictures like crazy. We appreciate that. But the winds with that have been strong, but they've been just above the tree line and have not been able to reach down to the ground. So we've had very little report of strong winds other than about a 40 to 45 mile per hour wind gust at Fort Knox as that wind moved through, and it's now located around Shepherdsville. So still very definite line here of heavy rain and some gusty winds in Bullitt County heading into Nelson County, mainly just general rain and lightning, very intense lightning, I might add. Even in the rain shield area here in Louisville, all the way through Indiana and central Kentucky along I-65. Lightning can still be very, very dangerous. So stay indoors, obviously. Hopefully no one's out anyway. It's just too much rain to contend with. But the lightning has been very intense, and it's cloud-to-ground lightning in many cases, which is obviously extremely dangerous. So we're still going to keep an eye on these thunderstorm cells moving through. The good news is the tornado warning has been allowed to expire for Hardin County and into Breckenridge County. We appreciate your patience. Let's get you back over now to the Olympic trials.
They're the ones that pushed me to be this type of athlete, and for them, I was just putting on